Today on Upfront, the Trump Victory Tour comes to Wisconsin. Next, State Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald on why Trump won this state. Is he interested in a job with the new administration? Then, Madison's reputation as a sanctuary city. What if the Trump administration cracks down? It's my conversation with Madison Police Chief Mike Koval. And preparing prisoners to re-enter society. Why a think tank says the state can do better.
Covering the issues important to Wisconsin. This is Up Front with Mike Goucher.
Hello again, everyone, and welcome to Up Front. President-elect Trump will return to Wisconsin on Tuesday night with a rally at State Fair Park in West Allis, part of his thank you tour of states that voted for him last month. State Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald was one of the first Wisconsin Republicans to get on board the Trump train, as he called it. And we're talking Trump, the campaign, and looking ahead to the upcoming legislative session with Senator Scott Fitzgerald. Senator, it's good to have you back on the program. You're going to be at Tuesday night's event, correct?
I am. I wouldn't miss it. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm sure we'll see the same type of crowd that we saw during the election cycle. So
you've had a little time since November 8th. What's your take on what happened in Wisconsin? Why did Trump win here?
We started to see specifically the North Woods, the feedback we were getting from candidates and what we were seeing in our polling, which are smaller snapshots of state Senate races, but Trump was doing very well up north. So I started to think, boy, the formula is going to be, if those numbers stay where they're at and the suburbs around Milwaukee come home, the wow counties, if you will, and Dodge and Jefferson as well, that combination could be great. Now, the thing I didn't see was 100,000 less votes out of Milwaukee, in Milwaukee County. That I didn't anticipate. It sounded like it was going to be down or suppressed a little bit, but we didn't see that. But that's the combination that came together that put Trump over the top.
So what was the lesson for your party, the Wisconsin Republican Party, from Trump's victory?
I think it's that middle-class voter, specifically up north and kind of at the tip of the Fox Valley, if you will, up in Green Bay, that they are the ones that will kind of determine which way an election swings based on how fine-tuned you can make your message and get their attention. And I think that's something that can be, it's worked for years for guys like Congressman Duffy up north, but, statewide races, that's probably the formula.
Did it give you confidence that Republicans can play in some districts that maybe seemed a little iffier a few years ago?
Absolutely. And it always comes down to candidate recruitment. The better candidate you have, the better chance you're going to have going into the November election. We had an outstanding crop of candidates, too. And for us, a guy like Pat Teston, who won the 24th.
Stevens Point area.
Yeah, and defeated longtime incumbent Julie Lassa. That was something that we were really starting to see, I think, with a couple weeks left. And a lot of it had to do with Pat just working very hard and doing the door-to-door. But also, in that race, it sounds like the kids stayed home that go to UW Stevens Point. They didn't vote.
So let me talk to you about the speculation about your future, because as I mentioned, you were one of the first state Republicans to get on board the Trump train.
Sure.
Are people talking to you about a job in the Trump administration?
I met with Donald Trump in October up in Green Bay, and we had a good 10-minute conversation. We talked a lot about Wisconsin. I told him, I said, I think you can win this state, so don't give up. Keep coming back. Keep sending back all the surrogates and your kids. Send them to Wisconsin. And, we didn't know at that time that Hillary Clinton would never even attempt to try and make an appearance here. But, that was a good discussion that we had. And since then, I've talked to Ryan Trebus and to Paul Ryan. And these guys, I tell them all the time, I said, if you got something for me, if I can be helpful, I always tell that to people, just give me a call. So that's kind of where it's at right now.
So if you were asked to serve in some capacity in a Trump administration, you would be open to that?
I mean, it'd have to be significant. It'd have to be something that would be interesting and something that we could really be helpful on. So, but I don't think you like to close any doors on anything. And we also have a U.S. Senate race in 2 years. And there's a lot of us.
Are you thinking about that?
Well, the Republican leadership, we got to come up with a good candidate to beat Senator Baldwin. And there's a lot of discussion going on about that right now amongst kind of the Republican ranks. So we'll see.
So that has potential interest too for you.
Yeah, everything's on the table.
Except when we're talking about transportation,
Yeah,
apparently.
except transportation.
Because,
right.
which is a good segue to that topic, because again, we had a hearing last week, a long hearing. Was there anything said by the Transportation Secretary, Mark Gottlieb, that especially concerned you?
I have a lot of respect for Mark Gottlieb. He's in a tough spot. He's trying to hold the line on what the governor's goals are. And, the governor's been real clear. He set parameters that, quite honestly, I've said we need to work within. And yet we have some other members, specifically the Speaker and the Assembly right now, that are trying to make the case that more revenue is needed to get some of these more substantial majors done throughout the state, as well as take care of some of the outstate kind of rehab programs that exist in northern and western Wisconsin. So I get it. My caucus seems to be kind of split, and that's why I'm kind of holding back and laying in the weeds, kind of waiting to see how things develop as we get closer to that budget discussion. There's a lot of other items in that state budget that also need to be considered at the same time. But let's keep all the options open. Let's keep talking and communicating. And we'll get there. We'll get there by 1 July.
You say your caucus is split. When you say split, what do you mean by that? Do you mean that there are some people who would be open under certain circumstances to a hike in the gas tax or to vehicle registration fees?
Absolutely. Yeah, there's some senators that it seems to be a little bit of a divide when you go southeastern Wisconsin versus outstate. And that makes sense because, a lot of those legislators are aware of the Marquette interchange being completed and done under budget on time, and now you're in the second phase of the zoo. So it seems like there's a lot of focus on southeastern Wisconsin, and we had this discussion in the last budget debate. And that means that maybe some of the outstate projects are not being completed or aren't being taken up by the TPC. So, that's kind of the dynamic. There's a little bit of outstate versus southeastern Wisconsin going on. And, I think we can come to resolve on that and figure a way around that, though.
You said all options should be on the table, but in your mind, is a tax increase or a vehicle registration fee increase on the table for you as the Senate Majority Leader?
I think it would be very difficult to get a gas tax through. Knowing the caucuses, both caucuses, and the members of both caucuses, vehicle registration is a little bit different maybe. I've said, listen, if the governor lays out a plan that says you need some other meaningful tax cut in another part of the budget, let's figure that out first. So I think not only myself, but there's other legislators right now, I think more focused on that part versus the gas tax increase, which I think is good. I think that's healthy, and that's a good discussion to have. There's other things we can do within the state budget to come up with a meaningful tax cut, and then we can talk about maybe some revenue increases.
All right. Senator Scott Fitzgerald is the Senate Majority Leader. It's always good to have you on the program. We appreciate your time
Thank
today.
you. Good to be with you.
Our editorial partner, WisPolitics.com, will follow the transportation issue and budget debate all year long in 2017. You'll find it all on the budget blog at WisPolitics.com. Later on up front, Rethinking Corrections, the think tank looking at how to better integrate inmates back into society. I'll be asking, can Wisconsin do better? But first, is Madison a sanctuary city? The police chief responds and why he says they're not changing policy. That's when Up Front continues.
Up Front with Mike Goucher, brought to you by the American Transmission Company and the Wisconsin Corn Growers Association.